I suppose, as you heard, I graduated from the University of Michigan here in 1995 with a degree in electrical engineering, but that's not actually where I started. So when I started here in 1991, I actually joined the Honors College, which was part of LS&A, boo, whatever, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. When I was growing up, I heard that you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be a businessman, and I faint at the sight of blood. I'm not very good at reading long documents. I didn't really know what a businessman was, so I just sort of went into LS&A and I was reading, great books and history and things like that. But I was always a computer nerd. I was the kind of kid that was programming on my Apple II when I was young. I put all my savings into buying a black and white green screen 386 when I went to college. And one day I was in my dorm room with a friend, staying up late at night, programming a tool that would let us analyze the results of our computer football game so that we could better strategize to play each other. An older guy who lived on the hall came in late at night. We were still hovering over the computer screen, looked at us with some amount of disdain and said, "You're such a nerd. You should just go to engineering school already." Scratched the record needle. My life stopped and changed. I never heard of engineering school. I didn't know what it was, and I had to find out. So I asked him, what is this? What does it mean? And lo and behold, it turned out that you could do software for a living. That was a job. That was news to me. These are back in the days when Windows 3.1 came out when I was in college. So the stories that you guys have all grown up with around the internet and around Facebook and around Microsoft and all these great founding companies wasn't really there. And so that was a real life changer. And I went the next day, found out what does it take to get into engineering school, and switched as soon as I could. The rest of my background, I'll go over a little bit quickly, just so you guys know some of what I've done, and maybe hopefully you can ask some questions about if you'd like. So like I said, I've always been entrepreneurial. I've worked for other people for a grand total of less than 2 years of my life. Right after school, I worked for a very small software company in Washington, D.C. And then I worked for an extremely large global consulting company in New York. And then I kind of decided it wasn't for me. So entrepreneurship has always been a passion of mine. And I started my first company in New York City in 1997 with my college roommate from University of Michigan. He and I started a company called Business Velocity, and Business Velocity built products for the investment banking industry to help them better create the thousands of presentations that they create and make them more kind of automated and unified. We built the product, the two of us and a couple of other people. Your classic kind of hardcore turn off, close the doors, and bang out the product. And then take it out to the world and hope people like it. Some interesting ways that we actually got it out there and in front of the right decision makers at the banks, had a little bit of success. But ultimately, when the dot-com bust crashed, a lot of the banks that were in that space and that were using our product crashed with it. And we had, we were facing layoffs and budget cuts. And in fact, there was a bank that we had sold our software to where they canceled the hardware budget. And so even we came back and said, could we give you the software for free? And they said, we don't have computers to actually run it on. So interesting lesson there. I'm happy to answer more questions about that time. But, of people of my vintage that are entrepreneurs in New York, I think kind of everyone has their I died in the dot-com bust story. And that's mine. So shortly thereafter, I was connected up with a couple of incredibly smart folks. One with a background in robotics and machine vision, and one with a background in neurobiology and artificial intelligence. And the three of us set out to start Lab 49, the consultancy that Doug referred to earlier, in 2002. We've grown the company over the past 10 years now to a position of global importance. And we basically have most of the top players in the field as clients. And I've really focused throughout that on bringing together the talent. And for a consulting company, it's all really about the talent that we have. And so I've spent a lot of my time kind of learning how to recruit and retain the world's best engineers and then put them together into teams.